The following show contains adult content. It's not our intent to offend anyone, but we want to inform you that if you are a child under the age of 18 or get offended easily, this next show may not be for you. The content, opinions, and subject matter of these shows are solely the choice of your show hosts and their guests, and not those of the Entertainment Network or any affiliated stations. Any comments or inquiries should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for listening.
Sitting down and designing where every man them are thinking, what are we gonna be wearing? Yo, I'm a Liverpool MC, you can't trust me. Big up the girls inside the party. Let's get down to crazy Jimmy. Big up myself and known as Alfie, the one and only, the Turkish MC.
Always love the clothes of Jimmy.
Bitch, I'm your wanna be Jimmy Star, new celebrity.
We'll take you out to
Hello. Hey, ho. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Jimmy Star Show with Ron Russell, bringing you the good times in music, fashion, pop culture, and entertainment. Hope everybody's doing good. I just joined the chat room, you guys. I'm sorry. I guess I had to refresh the page because, like, all you guys are there, and I was writing, where is everybody? So, I'm going in and out again. Before we get started, let me introduce my cool, outrageous man about town co-host, Mr. Ron Russell.
I'm too busy making out with Astro. Astro gives big kisses. Give me kisses. Oh, I love this dog so much. Okay, folks, how are you all? Hope everybody's helping other people. That's what I'm all about this week. I'm about suicide. A very good friend of ours lost somebody through a suicide, and it made my eyes open, and it made me realize. Did you know that Angela Joseph, one of her relatives, committed
Yes, I knew
suicide? I guess the pandemic and the shut-in got to that person. I don't know if it was a man or a woman. I don't remember.
It was her brother.
No. Was Angela Joseph's brother?
Yes.
Oh, my God. I didn't know that.
I didn't know that was public information.
Well, now it is. Well, it's nothing that should be hidden because it's a serious issue. And I write about it on Facebook. People are killing themselves, committing suicide because they're losing their homes, getting kicked out of apartments. Some haven't any money to buy food because no one's working. There's no salaries coming in. How do you expect people to live? And a lot of them don't qualify for welfare because they own a home or they make too much money. I don't know what the hell it's all about. But we have a very major thing going on in our country. This is worse than the crash of 29. At least in the crash of 29, they sold apples on the street. Here, you can't even do that because you sell apples, you get a drive-by shooter. So people are afraid. They're afraid of what's going on with the violence, with the smashing, the burning, the killing, the shooting. It's a serious, serious issue. It's depressing many, many people. Millions of people all over the world are in the same boat, kiddo. It's not like, except for the super rich. The super rich, they couldn't care less because they're happy, they're rich. They don't have to worry about mortgages or salaries or paying the rent. I mean, I heard stories where people's gas and electric were turned off. What kind of country do we live in?
Yeah, people getting evicted.
I know that because of a good friend of ours owns he owns many, many apartment houses in Soho, New York. And his tenants can't pay the rent. And you can't throw them out. But the landlords have to pay taxes, and the taxes on New York
mortgages.
City. Well, the taxes alone on New York City apartment houses are a fortune. Now heating is coming in. They have to pay for the oil. Where do these people get the money from? So we are in a very serious way. And I think that we should open everything up and let everybody take a chance.
Wear a mask.
And wear a mask. And if it's your number is up and it's your time to go, you're going to go no matter what. If it's from the virus, a car crash, or from a heart attack, it's all preordained, I believe. But doing this to our country is disgusting and destructive, and it has to stop. We need to open everything up again and wear masks and keep our distances and disinfect and wash your hands and do everything they say. This virus will definitely go away mysteriously. The way it came, it will go away mysteriously. Trust me. Too many people feel the same as I do. But in the meantime, we have to support those out there mentally that are suffering. They don't sleep at night. They lay in bed all night long worrying, where am I going to get money from? My kids aren't going to school. My kids are home. They're not learning. My kids are getting nuts because they're not learning how to play with their friends. And they can't play with their friends without a mask, which is ridiculous. Children cannot be children anymore. They're becoming adults wearing masks, and the children are being damaged because they're worrying about the virus. And young people should be happy. They should be out there playing and having fun like I did. But they're not. They know too much. They're afraid that if they go out, the virus will kill them. What a way to live. So when I write on Facebook how much I care about people and how I wish that people could survive this horrible epidemic, it's not because, like I wrote this morning, I'm goody goody two shoes. I'm certainly not goody goody two shoes, as all of you know. But I do tell it, no, but I do tell it like it is, and I'm honest and I'm frank. Our country is fucked big time. I don't think Trump is at fault. I don't think anybody's at fault. I think the virus is at fault. If we got rid of the virus and opened up, we could get back to being who we are. Anyway, that's my whole fight for the day. You know, it's sad that I can't believe that it was Angie's brother. I thought it was, she just said relative. She never said
Angie
brother.
condolences. Yes, she's in the chat room. So let's talk.
Angie, my sweet love, who I love so much. I'm so sorry that you lost your brother. I cannot believe it. I can't believe it, Angie. Anyway, we all have to get together.
Sending love and condolences.
No, we all have to get together and get out there and write on Facebook. Please don't commit suicide. Please, please. It will be over soon. Life looks bad now. It's always darkest before the storm, as they say. But it gets light again. It gets bright again. Trust me, believe in everybody that believes in positive thinking. Negative thinking will destroy you. Think positively, and life is wonderful.
So we want to say hi to everybody in the chat room. Sending love, Angie. Anton Country Super is in the chat room from Australia. Dave Hughes from the UK. Teresa Sabins in Florida. Backpack John is in the mountains someplace. Lady Lake Music is in there. Don Hinton is in there, which, by the way, Ron wore a different watch for you today.
I have a watch on for you. It's my Mighty Mouse watch. I wish we could
Hang on, you have to go up there.
I don't want to take it off.
Just.
I mean, wait a minute. If we could see it, I don't know that you. I can't bend my wrist. Anyway, it's
Mighty Mouse.
Mighty Mouse. It's an early 1960s vintage collectible watch. The story behind it is Jimmy and I were in Pennsylvania at a swap meet or a junk meet. You know, those places you go and you buy junk for $1. And a guy was selling it in the box brand new for $5. And I looked at him and I said, "Excuse me, sir, but you realize what you have here? This wristwatch is worth far more than $5. He said, "Yeah, but nobody wants it, so I'm selling it for $5. I said, "Are you sure you want to sell me this wristwatch for $5? He said, "Absolutely." I said, "It could be worth hundreds of dollars." He said, "Oh, I don't think so." He said, it's just a kid's. Anyway, he was very, very annoyed with the fact that I was questioning the wristwatch. So I said to myself, you know what? Screw him. And Jimmy right away, before I had a chance, whipped out the $5.
Bought it.
And we bought it. It's worth maybe close to $1,000, if not more. I have never had it appraised, but it's the original Mighty Mouse wristwatch. So I'm wearing that. Now on this wrist, I'm wearing this wonderful 3-piece leather bracelet that Hub Reynolds did and his girlfriend Tracy did. They are selling these beautiful bracelets and cowboy hats.
Yeah, we have cowboy hats too.
So if you go on their web, it has the Star of Texas. It is so cool. I love it. And everybody loves it when I wear it. I wear it with jeans and a ripped shirt, and I look terrific.
And then you have on?
I have on vintage Jimmy Star.
Me too.
This is all comic book heroes.
Captain America. It's all Captain America.
I don't know. Who knows what they are? They're so busy looking.
And mine's a tattoo print. It's funny.
Grape caught in my.
So also, you guys, Eileen Shapiro's in the chat room. Hello. And for anybody in New York, New Jersey, or I don't know, whatever the tri-state is. I don't know what the third state is in the tri-state. What's
Well,
the
I'm
third
not
state?
telling you. The tri-state is New York, New Jersey, and I think Pennsylvania.
Well, anyway, if you're in the tri-state area, Saturday night, 11 p.m., Channel 25, Eileen Shapiro is on the Mickey Burns Show. It's going to be awesome. It's fabulous, and I think everybody will love the interview
and
with her.
Eileen told us just 2 days ago that she got the flu shot, and she's not dead. That she survived the flu shot. So everybody out there that's so worried about the flu shot, go get a flu shot. It can help you this coming fall with a virus, a flu. I don't mean the coronavirus. I mean a flu virus, a snot one. Ugh.
We also want to say hi to Thomas Claxton is in the chat room. Hope you're recovering well.
Tommy, how are
Lance
you?
Wagner is in the chat room from the Indie Brigade. Hey, Lance.
Hey, baby.
Hold on. I got to get a drink talk.
You see how he pushes me around? Talk, don't talk, do, get up, go. I mean, talk about a controlling freak. Anybody
Oh,
out
wait,
there?
we didn't talk about who's on our show today. So, you guys, we got a great show today. It's going to be a lot of fun.
You're going on and off.
I don't know
Stop
why.
moving.
Okay.
Your wire.
And,
You're so cheap. You should get new wires, new
And
equipment.
we have George Cameron Romero coming on, you guys, from the Indie Brigade. We also have Kenny Lee Lewis from the Steve Miller Band, one of the greatest bands of all time. Should be a lot of fun, and we're looking forward to it. It's going to be a blast.
If you don't go in and out,
I don't know why it's doing that.
because you're cheap and the wires are old and the equipment stinks.
It's not old.
I told you this equipment is from like days of Jack Benny show or Bob.
It's
Hope.
because we spilt the Coke all over the
No, it's
board.
not. I didn't spill it. You did. Don't say we spilled it. See, this fucking maricon. What he does right away, he puts me in on all the bad stuff.
Hey, Samantha's in the chat room. Hello, Samantha.
Hello, Samantha. Are you a witch?
Also, you guys, we want to say that we had another guest scheduled for today, and we're going to be scheduling him because he actually got called in. He's on that TV show Snowpiercer.
Imagine
which
somebody's
is a great show.
Somebody's going to work. I can't believe it. It's
And
wonderful.
his name is Alex Ponovic, and he'll be coming back another time, you guys. So for anybody who saw the promo, we put it out. I didn't take it down because I put it out a week ago. But
Right.
now we've got two other fabulous guests, George Romero and Kenny Lee Lewis. It's going to be a lot of fun. Oh, and Hub is in the chat room. Hub, we just talked about you. Hey, Hub, what's your website?
Hubby, look, your bracelet that you and Tracy made. I'm wearing it, and I'm telling people they should buy them. They're stunningly beautiful. No matter where I go, I wear these with jeans, cowboy boots, and a sloppy shirt and the cowboy hat. I look like a slob that's pulling cattle out of a field. But I love that look. It's very Ralph Lauren. And when I wear you a beautiful bracelet that's made of 3 pieces of leather, a gold suede, a brown leather, and a deep dark brown leather, and the Star of Texas is in it. So if you're a Texan like Sherry Davis, you should own this bracelet. I don't know what it costs because you sent it to me as a gift. But everybody go to his website, and he and Tracy are designing beautiful cowboy.
Actually, he says they're all sold out right now.
Well, too fucking
And
bad.
that they love us.
Make more. You know, that's your problem, baby. I'm just pushing your bracelet. Make more. What do you mean you're sold out? Get out there. Get Tracy. Get a whip. Whipper.
You gotta love it.
Anyway, they're wonderful bracelets. They're conversation pieces. And if, like you girls, you're looking for boyfriends, you go out wearing this bracelet, you're at a bar. Guy's going to come over. It's a good excuse. Hey, man, I love your bracelet. Where'd you get it? And then you say, I'm single. I'm looking for a husband. And then you tell him about the bracelet.
Hub says he's finishing his screenplay.
Well, get it out there, baby.
There you go. Also, I was going to say something and now I forgot. Oh my
That's 'cause
God,
you're
I'm
old
getting
and demented.
old.
Old, demented, broken down.
I am. Oh my gosh, that's so terrible.
It's too much sugar. You eat too much sugar. I read all about it. Sugar makes you demented. It makes you senile. It makes you stupid.
There you go. You
And
gotta
that's
love
what
it.
happened to you.
Which, by the way, I'm having a knee replacement, you guys, in a few weeks. I went to the doctor. I have to get a knee replacement. I want to do it now while I've got good insurance, and so I'm getting it done. And Ron's getting his other cataract done tomorrow.
Tomorrow, this eye. So I'll be wearing glasses next week. Jimmy failed to tell you that he had an abortion and it scarred him. So he's going in to have uterus replacements.
Yeah, right. Did we say hi to B or no? Hey, B,
Hey,
B in Germany.
B.
What's up?
What's up, baby doll?
There you go.
There you go. You know, I don't know if I'm supposed to talk about it because that sounds like we're narcissistic or bragging.
Okay.
But should we talk about the you know what?
Yeah, we can tell. You can tell everybody.
What am I going to tell them?
You're going to tell everybody that the Jimmy Star Show with Ron Russell was named the #1 web show, radio show / podcast in the world by the New York Weekly Times and the Los Angeles Weekly Times. We came in #1. Joe Rogan was #2. Even though he makes $25 million, he's not as entertaining as us, according to their editors, because it's their editors.
So
who
if
pick
you're a
it.
sponsor us so we could get some of the dough that guy gets.
Yeah, because he makes $25 million.
I'd be happy with $25 a week.
That's right. No, not 25. We want a little bit more than
25 is better than zero, baby.
that. That's true.
It's $100 a month. $100 a month I could do nothing with, but
We want to thank everybody in the chat room too, who always you guys show up so fabulous every time. It's great. So thank you so much.
Didn't we beat out Howard Stern?
Yeah, we beat out Howard Stern.
Imagine. I met Howard Stern a million years ago on Long Island. My ex-partner was involved in a restaurant called La Parma on Long Island, and Howard used to go to the restaurant, but he used to go into the kitchen and had a table very close to the kitchen because he was afraid people would notice him. Unfortunately, nobody noticed him, so he could have really sat out in the street with a spotlight on him.
I have an announcement, you guys, from Dean K. Piper, who also the Pipe Man Show was on the top. I think it was number 5 or 6 on the list. But we got a new announcement from him. He says, I just got this announcement right now. So we're the first show on W4CY Radio to tell anybody about it. But Amazon Music has just launched podcasts right this moment, and due to the W4CY's partnership with Amazon, all of our podcasts, including the Jimmy Star Show with Ron Russell, are now on Amazon Music, and it just went live right now. So congratulations to us and W4CY.
You know,
our guest is here too.
It's amazing. We're all over the place. We're so famous. We're written up. We do millions of interviews, and we don't make any money. I think there's something wrong with you. I mean, something's wrong with me. 9 years I've been working on your show for free. But I think there's something wrong with you that you don't make any money on this show. This is all freebie time, folks.
That's okay. Hello.
Do you work for free?
Oh, you got to make it. You got to, me to take the hat off, or do you got another light you can throw on? You're a little dark.
Oh, this is my space. I'm not known for my bright and cheery world, Jimmy.
Oh, that's okay. No, to pull your hat off.
Yeah,
Let's see if we can see you
I
better with your
can't
hat.
do that either. My hair's a mess.
You don't have any.
But the people out there want to see what you look like. So don't you have a light bulb?
How are you guys?
There you go.
Oh, yeah, that's better. Take
better.
that. Yeah, there we go. That's better.
Much better.
So
introduce me. I'm excited.
Okay, everybody. Now we want to welcome to the Jimmy Star Show with Ron Russell, the legendary George C. Romero, son of legendary director George A. Romero, host of the Indie Brigade, movie producer, director, total badass. And hello and welcome to the show. We're very happy to have you.
Thank you, guys. I'm thrilled to be here with you both. And you know
bet-
what?
I bet you
What is it
are.
going to take for you to travel around with me and introduce me everywhere?
Right. Was that some bullshit introduction or what? Anyway, listen to this. I don't bullshit anybody. Swear to God on this one, in case you think I'm full of shit, forget about it. I'm not. We watched Night of the Living Dead a week ago because Jimmy had never seen the original.
That's what he was saying.
I said I saw the original in 1958 or 59.
No, 68.
Anyway, it came on television in the 60s. And I remember being with Sal, my deceased partner, and the both of us were watching that movie. Remember now, no one had ever seen a zombie. No one, except for the black guys that used to walk around with the white eyeballs. You know, they used to walk like morons. Anyway, nobody ever saw anyone devouring and eating flesh.
Nope.
No one had ever seen anything like Night of the Living Dead.
Nope.
I have never been frightened by any other movie since Night of the Living Dead. Now I look at it and I'm used to it because I'm, what's the word? Numb. Because I see heads rolling, people blowing up. It's no big deal anymore. But when your dad did that film, he had a vision that was incredible. I believe the film cost $65,000 to make.
Somewhere like that. I think it translates in modern day to just a little over 100,000.
Right.
in modern dollars. So, I mean, it was unheard of what they did back then. I mean, him and
A work of genius. Your dad was a genius to have produced that film, to have the vision to make people come up from the grave because of something happening in outer space and devouring humans. I thought it was a brilliant piece of work.
And he was afraid of it. And
I
so-
was very afraid of it. And
which, by the way, I didn't introduce you. This is Ron.
oh, fuck you and your introductions.
Hey, Ron. It's
Hi.
nice to meet you. We're Facebook friends. It's really nice to meet you formally.
Yeah, he's like a fucking introduction freak. All he
Let me
wants
see.
to do is these big introductions.
I like introductions because when we send the show out on Comcast and other places, I got to have an introduction.
Meanwhile,
So
nobody gives
Yeah.
a shit who I am. Nobody gives a fuck who I am. They want to hear what we have to say. And his dad was good. Now listen to me. Did no smoke up your ass either, buddy. Your stuff is good. So
Thank
what is
you.
it? An inherited gene, or did you learn from dad, or what is it all about?
the apple didn't far fall from the tree.
Absolutely not, because your stuff is weird shit. You have some weird shit out there. I mean, really fucked up mentality. You must have been nuts when you wrote them. You had to have been like freaking out. I mean, it's got to
Some
be
of
mental illness. You have to have a little. No, really, your movies are really grossing people out.
I
mean,
love them.
They are spookola.
Thank you very much. Thank you. That means a lot to me. I tell you, it's funny. My dad is obviously, everybody knows who my dad was. God rest his soul. But my mom was one of the first female vice presidents of an advertising agency in the United States, and that's how they met. And he was doing tourism films for the state of Pennsylvania when they met. And so I had my dad, who was this art filmmaker, and my mom, who was this commercial, like this this monster in corporate America back then in the ad world. So I'm sort of a combination of an ad man and an artist. And so I think I was doomed. Neither of them really wanted me to go into this life. My mom wanted me to be an accountant. But I'm sorry. Can you imagine coming to me for your taxes? Like, what the
Please,
fuck?
are you kidding?
I
me?
know my mom and dad wanted me to be an accountant too. I even have a degree.
My,
And it's
my
like,
mother was an actress. My mother was a silent movie actress, and she used to say to me, "Ronnie, you want to be an actor? You starve. Go work for the New York City, dig ditches, because you have very good benefits. When you're 50, you can retire if you're a ditch digger." Fuck you, ma. Ditch digger. I mean, could you make me out? So I became a hairdresser. My father had a nervous breakdown. He said, "Oh, Yvette, my son is gay."
hold on real quick too. We have a chat room filled with people right now. We have Germany. Let's see. We have Germany, Australia, England, Canada, United States. Just say hi to everybody in the chat room.
Hey, everybody in the chat room. Where is the chat room? How do I see? Can I see the chat room?
No.
Yeah, I think so.
you can?
I think if you go to comment, do you have a little bar next to the side? It says comments.
Yeah, comments.
No?
That's your
Hit
okay.
comments. That's our chat room, and then if you hit private chat, that's when Rebel who sends us messages like.
And
Got
I'm
it.
not going to brag, but I am going to brag. 4.5 million or better are watching us now. Also,
Not yet in syndication.
in syndication. Also, Jimmy and I were voted the #1 show in the world, podcast show. We beat out Howard Stern and who else? What's the other guy's name?
Oh, Joe Rogan.
Joe
Yeah.
Rogan. And fucking Joe Rogan makes like 30 million,
25.
25 million a year. And Jimmy and I make shit.
That's not true. You guys get paid in good feelings and the.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
Shove
Just like
you
you.
can shove good feelings, you know where. I would like a Tesla car, all electric. You can
Well, and
keep good
congratulations on the Amazon thing. That's big news.
Oh yeah, he just
Yeah,
heard that, so that just
yeah,
happened
you know
now.
what?
So you'll have to get on there too.
But wait a
Yeah.
minute. Can you help us figure out how come we don't make any money?
Actually,
we're
he's
like diarrhea. We're all over the place.
We
I
don't
mean-
do the Indie Brigade for any money. I mean, we don't. Everybody who does the Indie Brigade, we donate our time and we do it for. I mean, look. I think where we come from with the Indie Brigade is we're just out there trying to help people, and with the
Well, that's what
Veterans
we do.
Compound, we're
We
just out
do.
there trying to help people.
Wait a
and-
second, hold on, because let's say
Let's talk
because
about it.
no, a lot of our people do not know I know what it is because I was a guest and I'm a friend of yours, so I know what it is. But why don't you tell people what the Indie Brigade is, and then tell people how they watch it, and that way we can get a good proper it's
Sure, yeah. The Indie Brigade actually is this. It's it's become kind of a monster, and it's probably one of the best things I've ever done or been a part of in my life. There's a guy named Joe Ridgely, Jimmy.
Hey Joe, hey Joe.
Yeah, and he came to me and asked me if I want to do a podcast, and I said, well, maybe. What am I going to do? I thought I was going to be sitting in the corner of the internet crying in my soup or something, and so we did a couple episodes, and I talked to a good buddy of mine who was on your show, Richard Grieco, and he is the one who, he's the one who convinced me actually to do it. And so we set out and we started this little podcast, and then we relaunched earlier this year in January. I rebranded Romero Pictures and rebranded the Indie Brigade with the goal of moving everything forward into the next 100 years of Romero. And the Indie Brigade has become a full-blown podcast network. We just added our 10th show. And the Indie Brigade is a place for filmmakers. I don't want to even say first and foremost, but it's a place for filmmakers, artists, creatives, writers, authors, painters, singer-songwriters, musicians, whatever you have. If you're a creative, we've got a spot for you in our heart, and we've got a spot for you in our brigade. And we've turned into this thing, guys, where our audience members, they don't even call themselves fans or audience members. They call themselves members, right? They're members of the Indie Brigade.
Yeah, but listen to me.
We call ours friends.
Listen to me. Your show is not that good because you have never had me on.
Well, Ron, all you have to do is say the word. Are you kidding me?
You have Brain Dead Jimmy on, who's boring. You couldn't have me on. Now listen,
you're not a big horror fan.
Shut
even though you're in all those horror.
You guys come on the week after next.
You know how many fucking horror movies I'm in? I'm in 4 that are coming out now in the next couple of months. I'm in them, but I don't like them. I mean, I don't watch them because I don't like heads. It just bothers me.
How does that work? How do you be in horror movies and you don't like horror movies?
Well, I was very happy to be spared at the Big Friggin' Rat. Joe Castro, who is a genius.
He's very good friends with Joe Castro.
Well, I adore Joe Castro. And there's nobody that makes ugly, disgusting fucking monsters like him. Spit coming out, blood, red eyes. You could vomit. When I went on the set and I saw that rat, I thought, oy vey, this is going to bite me. This rat's going to take my leg off and throw me against the wall. Well, luckily, they said you can't do it because you're not insured. They found out my age and they were afraid I'd break a hip.
Actually, does he know how old? Do you have any idea how old Ron is?
Every week you do that bullshit.
I know, but he doesn't know you.
He doesn't need to know.
How old do I think Ron? I think Ron's about 47.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Oh my God, you just got a friend for life.
Yeah, you better
that bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, listen.
He's 80 though. Isn't that cool?
Why do you do that all the time?
Why? Because it's amazing that you're 80 and you're still working.
Did you know that Richard
Grieco
and I met peeing next to each other? It was so romantic.
I do know that.
He was in the urinal. I was in the urinal, and I said, "Rich, come on our TV show." He just gave me a dirty look. So I was propositioning him to come on the show while he was peeing. I never looked down to see if he had a big bird or not. I wouldn't do that. But I should have. I bet I could have been paid just to give that information out. But anyway, he's a cool guy. I like what's all about him. We found out more things about him, of course, after he was on the show. And I just think that he needs to work more and make a lot of money and get back up in the spirit of things.
We love him. And you know what I love about Richard is that he's a huge part of the Indie Brigade, and one of the things that has been great for him, I think, as speaking as his friend, he's really allowed the world to kind of see a lot of different sides of his own creativity. He's put out a song now that I helped him get out there. We did a music video for that. That was around the time that he came on your show. And he paints and he writes and he directs, and he's really he's allowing the world to see more into his world.
But the one thing that he's not really recognized for is he's a good actor.
He's a phenomenal actor.
And he photographs well. He's got an interesting face, and he's got good personality. Yeah. And I think that he should be like up there with Frig Johnny Depp and that other jerk Brad Pitt. He should be up there with them.
He is in my opinion. Huh? He is in my opinion.
Yeah, my opinion too, but he didn't get the breaks that Johnny Depp got. Did you know that Johnny
We need him
Depp-
to get
wait a
making
minute, shut
20
up.
million a picture.
Did you know that Johnny Depp does not like to study his lines? So when he gets a script, he doesn't read it. He puts an earplug in and they feed him every line. And for that, he gets how many millions?
Like 20 million a picture.
20 million a picture to be fed lines in his fucking ear. They could stick that mic up my ass and I go on for $10,000 a film, right? I mean, I don't give a shit where they put that mic. I mean, it's amazing how these people just score.
So hang on, go back. So you guys, first of all, Indie Brigade, it's Friday nights, right? Let's tell everybody. How do they see the Indie Brigade?
We're live every Friday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we go through midnight. My show goes till almost 11 o'clock, and then we've got another show that comes on right after mine with a gentleman hosted by a gentleman named David Lee Madison.
We know. So listen to this story.
supposed to be on your show, actually.
Oh, we got
Yes.
stories for days.
No, we got a story about this. So we were in Pennsylvania because we moved to California from Doylestown, Pennsylvania, and we were at where's that town that we wanted to move to? Maybe because it has a lot of gay people.
New Hope.
No. It's up in the mountains. Like we ate at the diner and we met David Lee Madison sitting at the diner.
Yeah. Oh, I love that little
I forgot
town.
where it was. We're the Black Bear Film Festival.
Milford.
Milford, Pennsylvania. And we were sitting at a diner eating lunch because we were looking at real estate, thinking that if we didn't move to California, maybe we were going to move to Milford. And I looked over and this guy's like staring at me and he looked familiar, but I wasn't sure because he'd been on our show a ton of times when we first started, but I didn't actually had never met him.
And I recognized him too, and I couldn't play.
And he looked at me and he goes, "Are you Jimmy Starr?" And I said, "Yeah." And he says, "I'm Dave Madison." I was like, "Oh," because the name I knew. And it was just so like how like unusual and wild is that like you'd be like have no idea and you're sitting at a diner with somebody that you actually know but you don't know.
He turned out to be a really
great guy.
Nice guy. We had a good afternoon with him. And he was excited. He thought we were moving up there. He was telling us that there are so many people in film and actors that live in Milford that it's almost like a little Hollywood.
Yeah.
But Milford gets those 20 belows, and I don't do 20 belows anymore.
Yeah, neither does my wife.
That fucking cold, you can have it. I mean, summer's cute in the mountains. It's cool and breezy. But in the winter, forget about it for Eskimos.
So you guys, it's Friday night, the Indie Brigade. You want to check it out. It's fabulous.
Well,
it's a lot of fun.
Interruption. Are you really putting us on next week?
No, not this week.
Not
Next
this
week.
Friday, next Friday.
Book it. I want to come on your show.
Booked.
Good.
It'll be fun.
I hope Joe's watching. Joe, if you're watching.
Oh, Joe Castro?
No, Joe Ridgely.
Oh, Joe Ridgely.
Yeah.
I love Joe Ridgely. He's super fabulous. Okay, so let's talk a little bit. First of all,
wait, one more question.
Okay.
So does Joe Castro make all your monsters for your movies?
Not yet, but I actually am about to work with Joe for the very first time on a project that I am helping one of the Indie Brigade filmmakers put together. We've got this is one of the things about the brigade that I love is that there's so much collaboration that has been born out of it, and what I think has resonated so much with people about the Indie Brigade guys is that so many artists feel like they're out there alone. They feel like that they're the only people doing things because a lot of times we end up in these isolated bubbles of struggle and sort of desperation. And the Indie Brigade is a place for everybody to realize that not only are they not alone, but there's a lot of people out there like them. And I've been seeing a lot of collaboration start to come out of the Indie Brigade, especially through our last season. We just started season 5 2 Fridays ago, and last Friday. And I think we saw a little bit of the collaboration in the early seasons, but nothing like what we're seeing now. We're seeing a boom of people start to reach out, start to work with each other, and most importantly, start to support and help and care about each other. I mean, there's not a day that goes by that I don't see some member of the Indie Brigade, maybe make a comment about struggling with something or trying to figure something out. And here comes other members of the brigade to lift them up.
To help. I love that.
Let's include Jimmy and I in that brigade.
I'm in it.
Well, I'm not. How come you don't? I really sometimes think that you're not with me. I think you're a jealous fucking enemy.
No, I don't put you because you don't really like horror. Like these are like people. These are like diehard horror people.
I don't like you when I'm with you.
Yeah, right.
The funny thing is we didn't set out to be horror, but I guess because of me and and the Romero of it all, we kind of like we went de facto to horror, right? And but you know, our message is not just horror limited. We're genre limited, and we're independent limited, and we're definitely not fucking mainstream Hollywood. I can tell you that. Most of the shit that we give away, most of the stuff that we talk about, and the knowledge that we drop would probably piss off most of mainstream Hollywood.
Now, George, not that I want to jump your bones, but you have the sexiest voice.
I was going to say that too.
It's a sexy voice. I bet you when the chicks are laying in the dark and you say, like, is it in? They get excited. That voice is so sexy.
Well, thank you very much. And you know, there's only one there, and that'd be my wife, and I love her. I love her more than anything. So,
well, what does she think of your voice?
She loves it. She loves it. Are you kidding me? I didn't even agree to meet with her face to face for 2 years until I just used my voice to get her to marry me. She didn't meet me until a year after we were married.
See that? I don't have a good voice. I have a harsh, broken voice, but I have beauty, and beauty pays.
I freaking love it.
And
You know,
look what I married. Look at the gift I got.
hey,
I got the brass ring. I should have choked on it. But anyway,
that's not nice.
Oh, I'm only kidding. I got you know, we're married 9 years in October. It went so
on my birthday. We got married on my birthday.
So it went by so with eggs, you know. It went by so fast. It went by
congratulations.
So fast.
9 years, that's a long time.
And Jimmy just had his third abortion, and now he's going in to have uterus replacement.
So I have a question for you. So because it used to be Romero Pictures Indie Brigade, and now I saw on the new that we put on the graphic, it says Films Used to Be Dangerous LLC. Explain that to me a little bit. Oh,
it's Romero Pictures LLC. Films Used to Be Dangerous is my slogan. It's my tagline. What do the kids say these days? It's my hashtag, right?
Yes, yeah.
So
hashtag.
It's back when we were talking about Night of the Living Dead in the beginning. When my dad put that out in 1968, you know, I want to say it was members of the U.S. Congress, and I
wait, 68 or 58?
68.
Was it 68?
So,
yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but I mean, there were members of the U.S. government that were making statements like George Romero is dangerous. Films like this are dangerous. Filmmakers like George A. Romero should not be allowed to make films like this because he's going to destroy America and all that other stuff. So it kind of turned in the years as I kind of grew into the legacy that he left behind and grew into the fact that I am George Romero now. Obviously not the George Romero, but I'm the only one we got left. So, you know, I realized what it meant to say films used to be dangerous. And, you know, there's a weight that goes with that and a responsibility that I believe that goes with that in terms of carrying on the next 100 years of my family name with the true spirit and intention of what I believe that my father and his partners set out with back so many years ago, more than 50 years ago now.
But do you feel that there's too much machine gunning going on in films, that young kids have the desire to see what that feels like, to mow down 30, 40 people? I say to Jimmy, there are more bullets shot in film than semen. You know, I mean, we need more semen shooting, less bullets.
I don't know about that. You know, I mean, like, dude, I remember in the 80s when people used to say it was heavy metal music that was making people do crazy shit. And then it was Dungeons and Dragons that was making people do crazy shit. And then it was horror movies, and now it's action movies. And I don't know. When I was growing up, we would watch all that stuff, and it was like it was an outlet. It wasn't something that we thought about, hey, I'm going to go do it. So I don't know if I subscribe to that. I think that
when I was growing up, if they shot somebody on screen, you never saw blood. It wasn't allowed. It was too grotesque. And no one ever got stabbed. You saw the knife going at the person, but you never. I mean, Hitchcock in Psycho was the first one to get Janet Leigh in that. With the
okay, hold on. Okay,
and the chick. Boy, was that a piece of work.
My turn. First of all, for 2 seconds only, we need you to take your hat and your glasses off because the girls in the chat room want to see what you look like. They think you're hot. So
come on now.
So there we go. So now pull the glasses off
Take
real
the
quick. Oh,
glasses.
you should. Other people, we tell them to take their shirts off, fucking drop their drawers.
Now wait a minute. Now wait a minute.
There we go.
Wait. Now say in that sexy voice, spread them, baby. And you know what? All the women are out with their vibrators right now. There's going to be a
I gotta
blackout.
move. My hat looks crooked. I don't understand.
No, it looks
There's
good.
going to be a blackout from their vibrators.
I love it. So then the next thing I want to say is,
You
okay,
guys
so
were a fucking trip.
many years ago, I was at Screamfest. I used to live in Florida. I actually had the privilege of meeting your father. He was very charismatic, very nice, very cool to like his
Like the
fans,
son,
just
like
like
the son,
you. That's
just
what.
like
That's
you.
where I was going.
Well, too
Is
bad
that
I
you have
got
a
there
lot of the
first.
same characteristics as your father. I think you're very warm and genuine. So when people are talking to you, you show a general interest in whatever it is that they're doing. It comes across as real, and I think that that is probably something that's going to always help you in everything that you're doing. But I think it's also very cool to come from the legacy that you come from, and you're not a dick.
Oh, well, thanks. I care about I care about everybody. I really do.
Now,
It's-
are you related to Cesar Romero?
my there was somebody in my family who used to say that we were, but as far as I know, we're not.
How about Jose Romero?
Mm,
Jose Romero was my father's friend. He made many movies in the 1940s. He was the first, I believe he was either Mexican or Cuban. I'm not sure what he was, but I think he was Mexican because he sang with big Mexican hats. And his Jose Romero was very famous in the 1940s. Good looking guy too. Then came Jesse Arnaz, and Romero sort of got kicked out.
yeah, I don't think I'm related to him either.
Well, Romero is a pretty popular name.
Yeah, we're we're Spanish. Although recently somebody said that we were Puerto Rican, but not. There's anything wrong with that, but we're not. We're Spanish.
I love Puerto Ricans. Puerto
and,
Ricans are my favorite.
Yeah, absolutely. But we're Spanish, and then my dad's parents went over to Cuba and then got out from under Castro.
Right, Castro. But I grew up with Puerto Ricans. I
Yeah.
went out with a beautiful green-eyed Puerto Rican girl, Gloria Hernandez, and her family. They didn't want me because I was white or whatever. They thought I was Christian. What the fuck is the difference? From Puerto Ricans to Italians, I don't know what the difference is. So she used to lie to them all the time. And she was up in my apartment and we were making out, and her mother had to call her mother. So she said to me, put on Spanish music. So I put on Tito Puente. And the mother said, well, at least he likes Puerto Rican music.
That's hilarious.
So and then my friend Teddy Gaglias, he married Angie, and the families threw them both out. He was Greek, and the Greeks said, we don't want Puerto Rican bride, and the Puerto Rican said, we don't want a Greek guy. That's how stupid it was back in the 60s. You talk about prejudice today. My God, we lived with such horrible prejudice back then. My sister was told you have to marry an Italian. She did. She got divorced a year later. Then she married a Greek guy, and they were married till they died, till he died. So I just hate that whole stupid mentality that was years ago.
So let's go back, though. I want to go back to the Indie Brigade just for a minute, and I want you to tell people about the facility. So you're in Virginia or West Virginia or someplace. Where are you?
I'm in Kentucky.
Kentucky. Okay. Oh, my dad's from Bowling Green.
Nice.
I
Okay.
was born in Pittsburgh. I was raised between Pittsburgh and LA. I lived in LA for 15 years, and then I left LA, and it was probably one of the best things for my fucking spirit I could have ever done. And now I live in Kentucky with my beautiful.
Kentucky is beautiful, rolling hills.
Yeah.
And the real estate used to be very, very soft. Now I bet it went up.
Not a ton.
Yeah, but
I heard you could buy a gorgeous for $350. You can get a mansion.
Yeah. Yeah.
In LA for $350, you get an outhouse.
like a mobile home.
No, an outhouse. Yeah.
So hold on. I want you to tell people, because like you're building something very cool.
What is he
And
building?
hang on, I'm trying to get rid of this. And tell everybody a little bit about it, because I know the Indie Brigade is a big part of it, about the facility that you're trying to build and what you're trying to do for the veterans and everything.
Well, the Veterans Compound is something I've worked a lot with veterans for oh God, maybe almost 15 years now, over a decade. So somewhere between 10 and 15 years. When I was young and I was rebelling, I tried to join the Marines several times, and I came back 4F all 3 times, and that kind of set me off in this kind of pissed off youth kind of outlaw thing. And anyway, over my life, I ended up realizing that most of the strangers who ever helped me out of jams, most of the people who were ever there for me were veterans. And I started, as I developed my own experience in life and in this business, I started, a lot of my vet friends would call me and ask me to just listen to them. And it started like that. And it started with a one-on-one type thing. And a lot of veterans would start to call me and talk about some of their experiences and shit they were going through. And one day I suggested to one of them, I said, why don't you write something down? And he said, well, I don't know how to write. And I said, well, yes, you do. It's simple. And you just have to, and anyway, we started talking, and he ended up writing a short story about his experiences when he was on deployment. And he called me up about a month later. And I'm skipping some of the details very deliberately because they're private details to this particular veteran. But he was in a very bad way when he started writing, and he called me up and asked me to read what he had written, and told me that he hadn't had one of these bad episodes since he started writing. And so I started to develop a theory that, because our veterans, when they get out of the military, they go through these demeaning sort of re-entry classes. Like a lot of our veterans are taught, they're made to go through classes to be taught how to grocery shop again and things like that, which they don't need, right? And a lot of times what that does is that makes them feel even worse than they already feel coming home. And so what the Veterans Compound basically became is an effort of mine to essentially help our veterans process a lot of their experiences through the creative arts, the visual arts, writing, whether it be music, whether it literally be cooking, or anything that is a visual, creative sort of expression. But beyond that, the Veterans Compound proper actually teaches the technology of filmmaking as well. So we teach everything from screenwriting to grip and electric to camera operation, cinematography. And I've been doing this one-on-one for a very long time now. And so I've just decided to sort of formally, start formalizing it. And my goal is to open a brick and mortar facility here right outside Lexington, Kentucky.
Wait, my interruption. A brick and what?
Brick and mortar,
like an
actual physical place.
What is that called?
Brick and mortar, like an actual building where
because I didn't know it. Maybe people out there didn't know what he meant.
Yeah, brick and mortar is like
a brick
an actual
and mortar
building.
means a health place.
An actual building.
Like in a world where everything's online now and people
good.
Like we're going to actually build an actual proper facility. And the nice thing about it is that the goal for this place is to take in a couple of classes of veterans a year, teach them the art of filmmaking, teach them the technology of filmmaking, and then actually produce a film with all of them on which they will get paid, they'll get paid competitive industry rates to work on the film. They'll gain hours toward union membership, and they will all be given a piece of ownership of the film.
That's absolutely terrific that you're doing that. Our very dear best friends, Andy Gladstein, he is the founder of Pets for Vets.
No, Dogs for Our Brave.
I like Pets for Vets better. But anyway, Dogs for Our Brave, and Jimmy and I support that, and we do a lot of work with them because people that are vets that are handicapped, blind,
a post-traumatic
cripple,
stress
whatever
disorder.
These dogs are trained to do the tasks that they would be doing if they weren't impaired. So it's a wonderful organization. Jimmy and I support the vets. We support the police department. We support law and order. We support everything.
I think it's a fabulous thing that you're doing. Everybody should know about it. And also, I think, so wait, the website's romeropictures.com where people can find out more about Indie Brigade and everything?
Oh, yeah. They can find out everything that I'm doing at romeropictures.com. Not everything, not stuff I do when the lights are off, but.
What's your next movie?
Well, actually, my next movie is now actually a comic book. Because earlier this year, I formed a formal partnership with Heavy Metal Magazine, which
awesome. That's so awesome.
One of the most amazing and fun and honorable things of my entire career. And I've got this project that you can see over my shoulder called The Rise, that is sort of it's like a prologue. It's a pretty epic story that takes place during the 60s, before any of my dad's early work like Night. And so we are turning it into, I've had the honor and the privilege to learn how to write comic books from Mr. David Irwin and Mr. Joseph Illidge, two of my comic book world idols. And we are telling the story as a comic book first, with Heavy Metal Magazine, the first issue of which comes out, the first installment of The Rise comes out in October.
Congratulations.
Inside the pages of Heavy Metal Magazine.
That is so freaking
Wonderful.
awesome.
Did you know that Jimmy and I are in a comic book?
I did not know that, actually.
Yeah, it's out. Yeah.
Celebrity Ghost Hunters.
Celebrity Ghost Hunters. And the first page, you open it up, it's Eileen Shapiro. You know, she's got these gigantic 79Z bra tits. I mean, tits. She got tits. Her tits turn a corner before she does. I mean, you see, no, really, you see her tits coming and then she follows. Anyway, she was climbing over a 6-foot wire fence and her tits got caught on one side. And she's screaming to me, Ron, lift my tits up. They're caught on the fence. I was peeing myself laughing. I couldn't stop. She's cursing me out. Well, don't you think they put that in the comic book?
Of course they did.
It's hilarious. It's so much
And
fun.
it's so fun when I read the comic. I was like saying, oh my God, look. And there I mean, I couldn't move. When I saw those torpedoes hanging on one side of the fence and her on the other, I'm going to cry now from laughter. If you were there, you would have burst a vessel. It was, you couldn't.
The video got 300,000 plays
I mean,
on YouTube.
you can't even stage such a thing. It was so perfect. I mean, talk about tits for days.
So
Poor
also,
Eileen. Was Eileen still in the chat room?
Yes, I think she's in the chat room. Also, there's a guy named Lance Wagner. Say hi to Lance Wagner because I think he's here because
Lance,
of you.
what's up? Are you here? Let me.
Yeah,
scroll
he's
the
cool.
thing. This
He's
is
very
the same
cool.
software we used to do the Indie Brigade. So when I realized that, I'm just going to scroll here. Lance, I
There you
love
go.
you, man. Lance is a brother. Lance is a co-host with his amazingly beautiful wife, Samantha Wagner.
Oh, she's in there too.
Yeah, they've got a show on the Indie Brigade network called the Wagner Wiles.
There you go.
You know what? If you really want to spend a good, wholesome, clean couple of hours on a Sunday night with a beautiful couple, tune into the Wagner Wiles.
Clean and wholesome.
So he's
and
had.
We're on Twitch now too. So
Oh, we're on Twitch too. Actually,
Are
we're
you?
on Twitch right now.
And-
Yeah,
and-
and Twitter. We're on
And
Twitter.
I'm here with my is my mic. Did my mic? Here we are. We're back on. I'm here with my handsome husband Jimmy. So there you go. But our show is not clean.
So hold on, he's got a bragging right. I mean, he's got lots of bragging rights over us, but he's got one bragging right you're going to be jealous of.
What?
He has had on the Indie Brigade. He had
Not Patti LaBelle.
no, he had no because he doesn't do music. He had Sam Jones.
Sam Jones. Good old.
He fucking
Sam.
loves Sam Jones.
He was
I
my
love Sam.
He's Flash Gordon. He'll always be my Flash Gordon. Buster. I'm a Flash Gordon freak. When I was a little boy, we played Flash Gordon. And if the kids didn't let me be Flash Gordon, I beat the shit out of them. I used to punt. No, I did. I beat them up. I said, no, I have to be Flash Gordon or we don't play. That's how serious I was.
you know
Then
when
Sam came out with Flash Gordon, and he's my hero. We're going to get him on the show. He'll come on.
Yeah, when he came on our show, he had he was actually on David Madison's show the end of the night, and he did his show in front of his very own Flash Gordon pinball machine. How fucking cool is that?
That is very cool. Anyway, he's a cool guy. I understand.
So
He was in Florida. Remember when he was in Florida, and a bunch of people were hanging out with him, and they all said he was a cool guy.
oh, he's cool.
really nice.
So there's a guy who has a house here who collects like movie memorabilia. I don't even know where it is. I had to like go in and I wasn't allowed to take pictures or anything, but he has the original Stratocaster like from the Stratus sled from the what year was that?
1936.
Like the 1936 Flash Gordon.
Buster
He has
Crabbe.
actual Star Wars, like actual ones used in the movie and Terminator and all these like cool
I
things.
know
It was the
everything
coolest
about
thing ever.
Flash Gordon 1930s film. Charles Middleton played Emperor Ming, and he was really wicked and evil looking. It was a wonderful piece of work. Of course, corny as we look at it now.
He
but-
also had Dylan Sprouse, which won't mean anything to you, but it'll probably mean the people in the chat room because he's like Riverdale. He's like the star of Riverdale, and he's like the coolest fucking guy ever.
Yeah, he's cool. He's got a comic with heavy metal called Sun Eater, and it's a great comic. And he came on the show with Brendan Columbus. who also has a comic with heavy metal. So
He's got like
and-
millions of
And
followers.
when Jimmy first met me and he found out I was a Flash Gordon freak, he had his, because Jimmy had a clothing line, he had his company manufacture the only one, an original Flash Gordon shirt that I have with Flash Gordon across it. And it's a one of a kind. And I never wear it because I don't want it to wear out. I only wear it for special
he has
occasions.
a Flash Gordon one and a
wait
Howdy
minute.
Doody
So
one.
when we come on your show, I'm going to wear my Flash Gordon. That's a very big thing for me now. You got to say like, oh my God, Ron, how honored I am that you're wearing your Flash Gordon shirt on my show that was not good until you came on.
So let's talk horror movies a little. And you can't pick your dad's movies and you can't pick your own movies. What are some of the iconic horror movies for you that you think, oh my God, these are like my favorite horror movies?
Clown Fear, the big friggin' rat, and and Croker.
Yeah, those are Ron's.
So it's funny. A lot of people try to get me to say my favorite horror film, and it's funny. I actually never did up until earlier this year in quarantine. I did one of these Comic-Cons, these online Comic-Cons, and I announced my favorite horror film, actually of all time, is the original Alien.
Oh
yeah,
that's a good one.
Yeah. So I think as far as
Beautifully
horror
done.
film goes, it's got all the ingredients. It's perfect.
So Lance
It is a
Henriksen,
perfect film.
Lance Henriksen is one of my favorite actors of all time. He's the coolest guy, and he makes these alien tiles. They're like a big tile. I don't know, 12 by 12 tile with the alien monster. He doesn't sell them or anything, but I met him at a convention and I gave him some clothes and we ended up hanging out and going, and he had been on our show. And so at the end of the weekend, he actually wrote like something like, Jimmy Star, you're a cool fucker, and signed it and gave me this alien tile. It's like that and my Clive Barker book that he drew a special drawing in for me are like my two prized possessions. And I have the pink pig from Saw 3.
And,
Oh,
and
that's
I
fucking cool.
and I have the Buster Crab Flash Gordon doll with the Stratus sled and the space gun and all that jazz, and never been opened. And I look at
I know,
it.
I fucking paid a
and
fortune
love
for
it.
that.
Well, you know what? I'm 80 years old, so when I croak in a couple of years, he could sell it. Fuck
No,
you.
Aliens are good though. That's a good movie. I mean, and no, but people haven't usually picked it. Like, I'm a big Lost Boys fan. I love the Lost Boys. I was friends
Absolutely.
with everybody in it, so I'm a big Lost Boys fan. I like.
Absolutely. But you know
and
what? I'm going to cut you off because over the Lost Boys, I like Near Dark.
Oh, way better. Yeah. Okay. I
Yeah.
like the Lost Boys because I know the people in it, but Near Dark is the fucking best vampire movie ever made.
Ever.
No, I
ever.
don't.
I
And
have
then
it.
Lost
I have
Boys
a
is
copy
second
of it signed by Lance Henriksen in my collection.
The best vampire movie ever made was Bela Lugosi. All right, corny as it was, I remember being with my cousin Bertha, about 10 years old, and we went to a movie theater called The Dump in Astoria, Queens, and we were kids, and they played this rerun of a 30-year-old movie. We were terrified. That Bela Lugosi in that castle with the dust and the bats and the women walking around in chiffon, eerie, spooky, and wonderful. They tried so hard to reproduce that with Christopher Lee. Quick Christopher Lee story. I met him at a cocktail party at Shelby Goodman's house. And I said to him, Christopher, I loved all your work. You're the best vampire ever. And he looked at me arrogantly and said, I've played more than a vampire. And he turned his back. So I said, oh, fuck you. You know, stupid son of a bitch. Nobody knows you by any other thing but the vampire, you moron. Then I found out that his wife was with him wearing a cape to the floor and they do three ways. So I said, you know what? They're trash. And I walked away.
They do three ways.
See, this is why I love you, Ron.
No, somebody said that he and his wife do three ways. I swear to God. Because I complained about how rude he was. They said, don't let it bother you. They do three ways. I thought, okay. You know,
One thing I think that's cool about you too is that you actually had to work your way up in the film world. Even though you're a Romero, you didn't like get a free pass.
No, fuck no.
no one gets a free pass.
Also, I think nowadays they do. I don't think they did
maybe,
back then.
Maybe if your father or mother is a very important actor.
But
although Angelina Jolie did not get a free pass because of John Voight, John did everything he could to stop her from being in the business.
But I noticed though that you were like a PA on some good films though. Ransom, Roadhouse is one of my favorite fucking movies, dude.
Yeah.
Like I know every line in it. I love it. The Burbs, which is also a great movie. Monkey Shine, you know, and then I think probably my favorite movie of yours. I mean, I've seen Staunton Hill a bunch of times.
Thank you.
So I like that a lot. And then you did a movie recently, which I think you're the executive producer of, Killing Winston Jones, with a fucking huge cast.
Yeah, it's a pretty huge cast. That's a long story, but it turned out to be a really great film. So I hope that one gets out there and gets the recognition that I think it needs.
Listen to these people, you guys, just so you know, because we know several of these people: Richard Dreyfuss, Danny Masterson, Tyler Labine, which I'm actually like trying to get him for another film I'm doing right now. John Heater, I don't know, Napoleon Dynamite, Joel E. Fisher, who was on our show, Danny Glover, we met at a convention, Lynn Shea's been on our show. I mean, that's an A-list, big-ass, fucking awesome cast.
Yeah, a good friend of mine, Albert Sandoval, actually produced and directed that, and he did a great job. He pulled something really special together on that. So. And
you've done a lot of work with Tom Sizemore, which we met at an Oscar party 2 years ago.
Love Tom.
We do too.
Yeah.
And Tony Todd, and we've had Tony Todd on the show. Ron loves Tony Todd.
I love Tony Todd. I sat next to him, and I had something stuck in my tooth, so I kept doing to get the whatever the fuck it was stuck in my tooth. And Tony turned around and he said, "Would you use a fucking toothpick or do something, but stop sucking on that tooth? You're making me crazy." So I looked at him. I said, "Fuck you. Don't you ever have things stuck in your tooth?" He said, "Yeah, it's terrible. You feel like the whole body is off center." I said, "He's a sweetie." I love Tony Todd. We had more fun together. He thought I was totally insane. He just couldn't. No, he couldn't stop laughing. He especially when I talked about black men having big wangs. He just couldn't deal with it. He was wild. He was so.
It always has to go to sex.
No, we had fun. No, I said to him, but the ladies like it. You hung like what, 11, 12, 14? And he started to laugh. He was a sport. I mean, a good guy. And he said, "It's not true about all black men." I said, "Oh, are you one of those sixes?" He said, "No." You can't open those doors with me. I go right in. But I love Tony Todd. He is absolutely good actor too.
Yeah. Phenomenal actor. Phenomenal actor.
And a nice man.
So let's say you could have directed any film, not your father's. You can never pick your father's or your own films in any question that I ask. But like if you could have been the director or written any horror film, any film, it doesn't even have to be horror, any film in history, what film would you have liked to like written and directed?
Man, congratulations. That's one I don't think I've ever gotten. That's a tricky one.
That's
tricky.
That's Trixie. That's Trixie the Tricker.
I don't, here's how I feel about that, right? I feel like if a movie is good enough for me to have that thought, then there's no way I could fucking outdo whoever did it. So I never thought about things like that. But I guess if I had to pick something, I mean, oh geez, I don't even
whatever comes into your head first.
Fuck.
Fuck, that was a good movie.
That's a really good question. I don't know I don't know. I never thought about it like that.
A lot of times we have actors on, so then I ask them, what movie would you have liked to have been in if you were an actor? Any movie in history that's ever been made, what movie would you think it would be great to have been in? I always ask them, and then I always ask them, and who is your bucket list of two people, a male and female, that you would love to work with? In a movie. But since you're not really an actor and you're the director and the writer,
I'll tell you. Here you go. How about Buried? What was that one with Ryan Reynolds, Buried, where it was in the coffin? I think,
fucking good movie.
I think I could have shot that a little bit.
Which one was that?
It's called Buried, where Ryan Reynolds is buried under the ground.
I saw that. That was good. That was a good movie.
Very
good movie.
And then there was one called what was it? The one with the people in the elevator that I actually was talking.
Love that movie.
So I was talking with the devil in the elevator.
Yeah,
love it.
Somebody was talking to me about doing that one, and they went a different route with it.
See, those are not really killer blood blow 'em up movies. Those are more suspenseful thrillers.
That's what Ron likes.
I like them. Now, what did you think of the most horrific piece of shit ever made in the world? And the people that did it should have been shot at dawn. The caterpillar thing.
Oh, Human Centipede. He thinks that's the grossest thing ever.
I think it was honestly, if you want my true opinion, I think it was in bad taste. So
bad taste isn't the fucking word. It was disgusting.
I loved it.
It was horrific. It was demented. It was weird.
I had the whole cast and the director on the show before I was with Ron.
Good thing, because if they were on with me, they would have been very unhappy people. They wouldn't say Ron Russell's very nice. I would never be in that film. I don't give a shit if maybe for $1 million.
Did you see Ready or Not?
I did. That movie was fun.
That was good, right? It's
yeah.
on HBO now. That's the movie where the girl gets married and then they pick out the game card and it ends up that she has to play hide and seek. That was a good movie.
Yeah, but you know what? That was a takeoff. That was stolen from Cornell Wilde back in 1948. He made a movie where a multimillionaire kidnapped him, brought him to the island, and sent him out naked to be hunted. And they all went out hunting Cornell Wilde, and it was called The Naked Truth or The Naked Runner. I think the film was called The Naked Runner. And it was back then a sensational film because we had, again, never seen anything quite like it. And it was very, very frightening that they were going to kill Cornell Wilde, who didn't have any weapons. But in the end, he screwed them and got away with it.
I loved Ready or Not. I thought it was freaking awesome. I also liked I think it was called The Hunt, maybe.
I haven't seen that one yet.
That one's a good one.
Okay, let's talk about the best scary black and white movie ever made, The Haunting of Hill House.
Okay.
Did you ever see it?
Yeah.
Was it not fabulous?
It was amazing.
When they were banging on the door, it was rubber. Boom, 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 boom. I was shitting. I got so scared. It was spooky. It was spooky. And then when she's downstairs spinning around the statues, and that music, beautifully done. Really eerie, really scary. And the end when she crashes in the tree and she speaks, and now I'm home. It was really a wonderful film. The Haunting, black and white.
I've seen
the book, The Haunting of Hill House.
What about, did you know Bill Heinzman?
Did I know Bill Heinzman a little bit? Yeah, I did. Just a little bit. Not as well as a lot of other people, but he was probably one of the nicest men you've ever met.
He certainly is. He's a gent.
He was.
I mean, he was.
Now he was fabulous. I actually like whenever I go to like those conventions, a lot of time they have me judge shit. And I actually sat next to him judging like a Halloween contest for like 2 hours. So like we had a really good time. I had known him for years, but I didn't really know him. But that's the first time I'd ever sat with him when nobody was bothering us. And it was really like cool. And I bring it up too, just because like, he's got a Night of the Living Dead action figure, which is a freaking. Do you collect action figures?
I used to. When I was going back and forth, I had a studio in Pennsylvania, and a lot of my stuff actually, I went out to LA for a business trip, and I came back, and a lot of my stuff was gone. So I just never put the
stolen.
Yeah, so I just never put the effort back into getting a new collection.
Did you ever find out who?
Do you
stole
have one
it?
of
Wait,
yourself?
Shut up. Did you ever find out who stole it?
Well, no.
Did you have an idea? Did you suspect them?
No. I mean,
Jimmy
It's
would
either a no or I would have had a fucking heart
Jimmy
attack.
would have gone with 10 machine guns and shot everybody.
That's
Yeah,
my favorite
well.
thing. Is my thing. Is there a George C. Romero action figure?
no, but we should start that hashtag.
No, we should start that hashtag because I collect action figures of everybody who comes on the show if they have one. Like 2 weeks ago, we had on. Now shit, I forgot his name already.
Yeah, but you know what?
Wait. Let me finish. We had the drummer from Def Leppard, Rick Allen.
Okay.
And then I went and bought his action figure on eBay, like after he came on. And I'm sending him one of them.
Now, somebody contacted us for permission. They wanted to make dolls of Jimmy and I. And I said, no, permission not granted. I believe in voodoo. And I believe that doll, people will stick needles in it and kill me or make me sick. So I said, no, I don't need what the fuck you want a doll of me for? What
I want one.
Yeah, but let them stick needles in you.
Yeah, well, actually, the chat room loves it. George Romero pop figure, Funko Pop George Romero. We need to get that going. Let's start that hashtag.
Did that broad ever make those dolls of us?
Oh, I don't know.
I hope not. She was supposed to send us a stereo. What was it called? It's not a stereotype. What do they call that?
Prototype.
Prototype. I said, no, you don't have permission to use my image. I don't want people.
That's hilarious. So
Getting
here's what we're
dolls.
going to do because our next guest is getting ready to show up.
Yeah.
So you guys, first of all, this is George Romero. So the website is romeropictures.com. You can watch the Indie Brigade Friday nights from 6 to I don't know. It's 9 Eastern time.
9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Pacific time. We're on YouTube. We're on YouTube at youtube.com/indie_brigade. We're on Facebook. We speak the Facebook language really well, and we're just now moving over to Twitch. So we've got links everywhere, but you can find your way to us everywhere at romeropictures.com.
And you also can follow him on Twitter. He's I am George Romero on Twitter.
Yep.
And what are you on Instagram?
I have no idea. I think it's George. I don't fucking know.
I don't know, just type in George Romero and it'll come up.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm glad that we met. You're a nice guy. You're real. You're down to earth. The kind of people I like. No fanfare. No phony shit. I hate people like that who
There's
think
no fucking time for phony shit.
who they think who the fuck they are because they're on television like Jimmy Star. But anyway,
So
Right.
well, listen, you guys are coming on next Friday, not this Friday.
next
Friday.
Friday we got a date, baby. Yeah,
It'll be a lot of fun. We look forward to it. Everybody, this is George Romero. Thank you so much for coming on. It's such a pleasure having you on, and hopefully we'll get lots of views and send some traffic your way for your show too.
Absolutely.
Thank you guys. It's been a real pleasure. Really nice to meet
Alrighty.
you.
Have a great weekend. Stay safe, baby.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
Bye now.
Bye.
All right, everybody, real quick, you can listen to the Jimmy Star Show live every week on W4CY Radio. That's our home station. We're also on K4HD Radio in Los Angeles, Jackalope Radio in Kansas City. We're on iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Audio Boom, SoundCloud, iTunes, Spreaker, Apple TV, Podbean, Spotify, and Pandora. We're also on a bunch more, but those are the biggest ones. On television, you can see us on Comcast, Roku, Vimeo, YouTube, and JSW Television on JimmyStarsWorld.com. And chat room, thanks for all the comments and everything, you guys. And he says it's George Cameron _Romero on Instagram, you guys. So that's fabulous. Thanks, chat room. All is good. Let's bring in our next guest. Go ahead, Rebel. Let him in.
Like a lion.
Hey, how you doing, guys?
Hey, how are you?
Good. I'm glad I'm not the only gray-haired guy in this thing.
No,
Yeah.
you're definitely
but-
not. Now, do you have long hair and it's in a ponytail, or did you cut it all off? Yeah, I thought so. Okay.
I look like one of the founding fathers.
Another one with a beard. I swear to Christ, you all look like the Smith brothers. Remember the Smith brothers? The cough drops. You don't know the Smith brothers. You're too young. There were cough drops years ago that had two brothers on with beards, and it was called the Smith Brothers cough drops. So
Yeah, I'm going for the founding fathers look, you know.
what is it?
I'm going for the founding fathers look. Hold on, let me do an actual introduction for the whole thing, and we'll get going. All right, everybody. Now we want to welcome to the Jimmy Star Show with Ron Russell, iconic and legendary musician Kenny Lee Lewis from the Steve Miller Band. Hello and welcome to the show.
How you doing, guys?
Fantastic.
Good.
So this is my cool, outrageous co-host, Mr. Ron Russell.
How do you
Hey,
do?
Ron.
Good. I'm fine. I heard that somebody said that if you had a few music lessons, you might do something good for a change. Is that true?
Well, actually, I'm probably going to start giving some soon because I'm
That's
not.
only a joke. That's a joke. You're supposed to go, ah. You're supposed to laugh. Anyway, I made that up. It's not true. Nobody said that. Anyway, I like your music. You know?
Well, thank you.
Yeah. And I like the fact that Johnny Mathis sings to it.
Well, yeah. Well, you know, I work for a very famous, rock star. So I've been in the band for 39 years now, but I'm still one of the new guys in the band. And Steve is, of course, the iconic person who I work for. So when you say your music, I sort of felt the same way because I was a fan of his way back in the 60s and 70s before I even got in the band. So I felt the same way.
Absolutely. So hold on. So we have a chat room full of people. Many countries are represented right now. So just say hi to everybody in the chat room.
To the world.
Yeah, how you doing?
And then we have a special guest. She's in Germany. Her name's B. Claudia. She's like our resident. Like she loves all the musicians that we come on, and she promotes it very heavily. Her name is B. Claudia. Just say hi to B. Claudia.
Hi, B. Claudia. Nice to meet you.
There you go. That'll make her so happy. She just freaking loves that shit. So
She's a rocker.
yeah, she definitely is, and she's fabulous. So first of all, you guys can follow Kenny Lee Lewis. He's on Twitter at Kenny Lee Lewis. Are you on Instagram too?
Yes, I am.
What was your Instagram? I think I'm following you, but I don't know if I did or not.
On Instagram.
Oh, Kenny Lee Lewis all the way around, you guys, and his website is kennyleelewis.com. There you go. And which, by the way, you have a very cool website.
Oh, thank you.
It's very easy to access and look at all the different things. And there's a video of you playing guitar with the Steve Miller Band, but it really highlights you on there that shows how skillful you are as a guitarist. And I watched it 4 times because I was like, this is really badass.
Thanks, I appreciate it. Yeah, that was when I was playing guitar with Steve, and I've switched over to bass now in the last 10 years. But I was his guitar player for about 28 years.
So now, like, how come you switch? Like, so you can obviously you can play both of them really well. Which one do you prefer?
Well, with the Miller Band, I always wanted to play bass, and I met him when I was a studio bass player in 1981. I was doing very well in the studio scene in Los Angeles, and when he ended up doing some of my material and asked me to join the band, I actually thought I'd be playing bass, but he said, no, you play great guitar, because I played both bass and guitar in Abracadabra, and the album, I should say, not the single. And he said, no, I want you to play guitar. And I went like, oh, okay. And I hardly had any gear at the time. I was mostly doing studio bass work. And so I said, well, I don't have that much gear. I'm not ready to tour. He goes, don't worry about it. We'll get you the gear. And sure enough, we went to a music store in Seattle just before we toured that year. And man, he bought a bunch of stuff. So I had all kinds of gear. So that was fun. So he just loved my guitar playing. He wanted to make me the guitar chair, which is kind of like the boss gag seat in the band, the other guitar player, if you will. So I sort of took that seat and did that, as you saw in that video, all the way up to about 2009. And then our bass player broke his ankle at some point jumping off of a ladder in his backyard by accident.
That's terrible.
I had to go over to bass because we were in the middle of a tour. And when they heard my bass playing, he had forgotten that I was a really good bass player.
There you go.
He went, wow. He goes, you got to stay on bass now. And I went like, okay.
They love you too. In the chat room, they love you. I got Eileen Shapiro in the chat room. Say hi to Eileen.
Hi, Eileen. Nice to see you and meet you. I know I'll not meet you. I'm not seeing you, but she and I have met in the flesh. But we've been corresponding for the last month.
You've never met her?
Yes.
Or you have met her in the flesh? Hello?
No, I have not met Eileen in the flesh.
Oh,
I didn't know that. Okay.
see that you got misinformation.
There you go.
Through the internet, whatever.
That's how everything is happening nowadays, through the internet. Yeah. All right, I need you to do.
We're all hungered down. What the hell?
We need one more hello to Cindy Lady Lake, and then we're done with all our hellos.
Cindy Lady Lake.
There you go.
I saw that name on one.
She's all over Twitter, and she promoted this very heavily all over Twitter and Facebook and everywhere, and everybody loves it. So we'll talk. I want to bring up a few Steve Miller things, and then I want to talk about you because you got a whole bunch of other stuff. You released a jazz album and stuff, so we'll talk about some of that. And Ron likes to ask personal questions, so he'll get into that.
I love jazz, so I could talk jazz.
So do you have a favorite?
I have a jazz record too, Ron.
Yeah, he's got one.
You'd love. I'll send it to you.
So here's first of all, you guys, so I can do some bragging. Here's some of the people that Kenny Lee Lewis has played with besides the Steve Miller Band. Bonnie Raitt, and there's a million of them. I just picked out the ones I like a lot. Bonnie Raitt, Eddie Money, who I met, unfortunately passed away last year. Dave Mason, Billy Preston, Brian Wilson, Steve Stills, Boz Scaggs, which I love. Peter Frampton, my very first album, Frampton Comes Alive, when I was young, when my parents bought me an album. Burton Cummings, Pat Benatar, Gary Wright, who was a guest on the show, Melissa Manchester, Mark Cohn, Beach Boys, Ringo Starr, and the Doobie Brothers, which is, I know there's a lot more, but those are the ones I like, so I picked those ones out.
Okay.
And so first of all, do you have a favorite Steve Miller Band song, when you get to play? Is there one that's the one that you enjoy the most?
Well, obviously, as you saw on my website, playing lead guitar on Fly Like an Eagle was a big highlight for me every night on our shows when I was playing guitar with him. And it's a really interesting song because it crosses over a lot of genres. It's got a lot of R&B flavors, but it's also, psychedelic and bluesy and, all the things that I grew up with in the Bay Area and Sacramento and the Bay Area. So it's that song. And then the bass line is great too. It's fun. I jam out on that song on bass. So that's probably my favorite song. That doesn't necessarily mean it gets the biggest response because obviously the Joker is huge.
That's my favorite, the Joker. We were playing dominoes with Ron's daughters the other night, and we were listening to Yacht Rock on. It's a station that plays all that stuff.
Love that station.
And that song, the Joker, came on, and when Ron wasn't singing it, but the three of us were singing it as we were playing dominoes because, for me, that's the epitome of one of the greatest songs ever made.
I didn't know the word.
Your question can be answered two ways. The Joker is obviously the one that gets the biggest audience response. So that's kind of a buzz and a jazz when you're just sitting there with 30,000 people and they're all just completely out of their minds. But Fly Like an Eagle for me as a musician is my favorite.
Okay, there you go. And Eileen sent me a text message saying that I didn't mention that you also play with Scott Page, since he's a good friend of ours, that I was supposed to mention that.
Oh, Scotty
He and
Page.
I are on a gig together in about 10 days in Pennsylvania. So we're going to be playing together again.
Oh yeah, I heard about that. That's fabulous.
Scott is the best of the best.
You gotta love it. All right, so if you guys go to KennyLeeLewis.com, he's got a new album. Is it called New Vintage? Is that the name of the album?
Well, that's the one I was talking to Ron about. That's not a new album, but it is for sale on CD Baby. I haven't really put out any new music in quite a while. That was sort of a smooth jazz record that I did all instrumentally, and it is available on CD Baby, but that's not new. It's been around a while, but it's
That's
a good
okay.
one.
It's new for us because we didn't know about it.
But it's okay. And I'll send you guys a copy. I mean, you'll
Thank
really
you.
enjoy it. It's kind of like a cross between Terry Kath of Chicago meets George Benson or something.
I love
It's
George
Now,
Benson.
if you put an album out, can you still make money on it because of all the pirates?
No.
That's
That
why-
was an honest answer.
Well, yeah, Stevie Nicks said to us that she's not putting out albums anymore. She's only doing concerts.
But you
because
can't do that now.
If she puts
Yeah, I
more,
mean, basically, the recording industry, in terms of making money off intellectual properties, only pays if you're getting it in a movie, a TV show with a sync license, or you're playing in a giant, like on the Super Bowl, and it's going through all these networks. You're getting royalties for performances. But as far as mechanical, physical sales, it's very, very light these days, and hardly anybody streams a pay for stream. Most artists will put out their stuff pretty much for free now for you to listen to. So you'll come to their shows and buy a ticket and see them play it live. So
Yeah.
there's not a lot of money in selling the actual intellectual physical property anymore.
and so now with the pandemic, there are no concerts, so nobody's making any money at all.
Right. We're home
that
doing
sucks.
gardening and
That's
cooking.
that's
Gardening
not
and
good.
cooking.
I also am fortunate enough to have a home studio, and I actually have a client here right now that's recording. In fact, I'm taking a break from those sessions to do this interview. And
Really?
he is Steve McCarty, who wrote Wild Mountain Honey for Steve Miller. He's here today, and he's just cutting a bunch of new stuff, and he likes my studio, and he likes my production quality and stuff. So he's just here renting the studio, so I'm actually making a little money with my studio right now.
That's smart though. That was smart to put a studio in your home, especially
Well-
since you're like a lifelong musician.
You got to make a buck however you can today. It's not easy.
Yeah, but you played. You had a virtual. Now last weekend on Saturday, you had a virtual concert, right?
Yes,
Was
I
that
was
your-
able to play and actually play with a live band on a really nice stage with fog and lights. It was great. So it was an interesting thing. It was a microbrewery that's in town here that built a beautiful room, beautiful big screen in the back. We put a whole art display in the back of about 80 images of all the Fillmore posters and a lot of classic rock band early pictures. So it was entertaining. In addition to us playing live, we had a little multimedia show going in the back. But what was nice is that out in the patio, there was probably about 60, 70 people that were watching the show on the TV out there and, drinking great craft beer and eating great food. So we were in another room. They were out on the patio. We were only separated by a wall, but we were in compliance.
And it was safe. Yeah, when it was safe and everybody got to see you play, and
Yeah.
I mean that's the future of the way things are going.
Well,
All this
it-
virtual stuff is going to be around for a while, I think.
It goes
Well,
to
they
show
still want
you.
people shoulder to shoulder breathing on each other and dancing and writhing and all that stuff. I mean, and until this curve is brought down and there's a vaccine, we just can't have that.
Right. Go ahead, Ron. Tell us what did you say.
No, I was something boring. I was going to say, where there's a will, there's a way.
Absolutely.
You know.
Well, that's the way it's coming now, anyway. So I
Yeah.
like the whole thing. So where are you actually stationed? I know you're in California someplace. Are you in LA?
No, I'm halfway between LA and San Francisco in a town called San Luis Obispo. And
Oh, I
it's-
know it well. Jane Russell lived right below you in Santa Maria.
It's just, it's right in the middle. We're 3.5 hours north of San Francisco, 3.5 hours south of LA. So it's nice.
I
It's,
love it up there.
it's wine country. It looks like Italy around here. It looks like Ireland and Italy. It's kind
Beautiful.
of we got Cal Poly University here. We got Hearst Castle. It's,
I used to go to lunch there with Jane Russell because Jane and I were good buddies. And yeah, I'd pick her
Do
up.
you know who Jane Russell is?
sure.
Oh, okay. Yeah, she was my best friend for many, many years. We were like brother and sister.
Oh,
And I would go up to her house for weekends in Santa Maria and we would drive up to St. Louis Obispo.
Yeah.
And I loved it up there. And her brother lived in not Solvang. Her brother lived on the water, on the coast. It begins with a J, I forgot.
We have Morro Bay, Cambria, Cayucas. We have,
I forgot. Anyway, all her family was up there, and it was beautiful country. If we didn't have to commute to LA to do things, I would love to live up there because it's a better climate.
3.5 hours goes pretty quick when you're driving along the coast and looking at a beautiful.
Yeah, but we do 2 hours to LA.
We're in Palm Springs.
And Palm Springs is just too damn hot in the summer.
Yeah, I used to have condos there.
Too hot.
It's way freaking hot.
But I love it up. I love it up where you are. I understand the real estate has really skyrocketed up there. It used to be cheap living, no more.
Yeah, used to be able to buy a beach house on the beach in Cayucas, for instance, for about 250, 300,000. I
Right.
mean, these were new homes. They were probably from the 40s and 50s, but you
Wonderful.
rebuild them. But now they're like $2 million for those little bungalows.
Yeah,
that are up.
yeah. It's
Yeah, it's
sad because
sickening.
no matter where you go now, years ago, I remember when I moved to LA in 1949, I was 9 years old. My parents bought a house for $2,500 on Poinsettia off of Santa Monica.
Oh my God, 2,500.
2,500, and they had a mortgage.
Yeah, I just visited one of my childhood homes in Sacramento that we bought brand new, 2-story home. I remember in 1960, my dad paid $13,000 for it, which in those days was considered to be, quite a bit of
A
money.
lot of money.
When you think about it now, you can't even get a decent car for that.
Right. A lot of money. The house that my parents bought is still there, and I bet now it goes for about $1 million too.
Wow.
If more, if not more.
So we have a lady in the chat room. Her name is Dawn. She's writing over and over. Dude, tell him I'm in Bakersfield, California, and Cayucos. How do you say that? Cayucos.
Cayucas, yeah.
Cayucas is my Shangri-La.
Yeah. Yeah, well, a lot of people live over in the San Fernando Valley where I grew up, and it gets hotter than hell this time of year out there. And so all you got to do is pop over the Coast Range. You come down to Morro Bay, it'd be 55 degrees, foggy, and you got to put a jacket on.
I know. I love it up there. I've over the years driven up to San Francisco so many times, and when you do the Big Sur and that big beautiful drive, Jimmy, we've got it. Maybe this weekend we'll go up. We'll drive up north somewhere. I got to get out of this fucking desert.
It's so hot here in Palm Springs. It's like 120 freaking 5 degrees, and
I'm so bored.
I'm not going to be able to. I have to have a knee replacement soon, so I won't be able to make a long drive for a little bit. So we should do that.
And tomorrow I get a cataract removed from my left eye, so I'll go up there with one eye. But I could still enjoy the beauty with one eye. It really, the climate, the beauty of it all. And you know what? Once you're out of the LA environment, you start to meet the real people, and it's so nice to sit down and talk to real people for a change.
Yeah, I love Palm Canyon though. I love hiking up in there. That's always a fun vibe, and it's got a really nice spiritual sense to it too.
Yes,
I enjoy
that higher area that's above Palm Canyon. There's another way. It's a little higher.
I've hiked that. I've hiked that a few times, but I don't hike anymore. I'm old now, 80.
He's 80. He doesn't look it, but he's 80.
So I don't hike
I
anymore.
know. I just did the math when he was talking dates. I got it.
Oh yeah. That's good. A lot of people can't do that, so it's fun. Okay, so you've played with like almost everybody on the planet. Is there anybody on a bucket list and you're like, okay, I play with everybody, but I haven't played with who's the with? Who would it be?
I'd love to meet. I almost met Clapton. I was working at Guitar Center. Steve took a break for 4 years from 2000 2004, and I went and became a manager at the Hollywood store in LA. And Clapton came in early one morning, and the traffic was so bad coming in from Santa Clarita. I missed him because he was only allowing like 10 people in the room with him, and I missed it. There was already 10 in there. I got to watch him through the glass, but I never met Clapton. I never met Jimmy Page. I never met anybody in the Stones except for Ron Wood briefly, but he's not really a Rolling Stone in my opinion. He's just kind of like an added guy, like me. I'm like an added guy to the Steve Miller Band. He's like an added guy to the Stones because he wasn't on the early records, So but I would love to meet Mick and Keith and just sit down and talk a little bit. That'd be fun. There's a couple others, but I can't remember right now. I never met Elton. I have two really good friends that are in his band, but I've never met Elton. That would be fun.
Well, you know what? You're lucky because you know Scott Page. So there you go.
Yeah.
I actually dressed Elton John one time. I used to be a celebrity clothing designer, and
Sure.
I had a clothing store in Florida, a bunch of them in Florida, and Elton
We're
John.
wearing his shirts.
Yeah,
now.
these are my one of a kind
These
shirts
are
that we're doing now.
Vintage Jimmy Star shirts.
And so anyway, I dressed him, and then they invited us to his concert, and I got to go to his dressing room and hang out with him for a little bit, before the show. It was probably one of my highlights, because for me, Elton John's one of my absolute favorites.
Yeah.
And then I had a weird clothing store, because I had another husband who was a dick asshole, and
yes, he was.
and so we didn't let people in if they weren't really shopping. But who name the members of the Rolling Stones, because now I can't think of his name. Who are not Mick Jagger and not Ron Wood? Who's the other guy?
Well,
in the
there's
Rolling
Charlie Watts, and there was, Bill Wyman, the bass player, and Brian Jones was the leader of the band at the beginning.
Who's the guy who doesn't have the great face?
Oh, that's Keith.
Keith Richards, right? So Keith Richards came to the door, and because he wasn't seriously shopping and he was all fucked up, they didn't let him in. Can you believe that? So they didn't let fucking Keith Richards come in my store to go shopping, which would have been like the greatest thing ever. Because
Wow.
that's what an asshole fuck they were.
You know what? Screw all of you. I went food shopping in West Hollywood at the Food Basket with Johnny Mathis.
Johnny Mathis, and who's the lady you like?
Who's the lady I like? Patti LaBelle.
No, the lady who likes my favorite singer. She's like a woman. She's an old lady with blonde hair.
Peggy Lee.
Peggy Lee and Johnny Mathis are his two favorites.
No, but Johnny and I did food shopping. He's a vegetarian, and we chatted, and we're walking around the store, and I thought to myself, nobody's coming up and saying, Mr. Mathis, can I have your autograph? So when we got to the checkout, I said to the young man, I said, you know who this is? He said, no. I said, this is Johnny Mathis. He said, oh, hello, Johnny Mathis. He still didn't have a clue as to who Johnny Mathis was. So I had to tell the kid, you know who Frank Sinatra is? He said, yeah, I've heard of him. I said, well, this guy sings better than Frank Sinatra could ever want to sing. I said, he's the number one greatest singer in the world. And the kid said, oh, that's nice. He couldn't have cared less. I mean, nobody
Actually, do you like Johnny Mathis?
So Johnny said to me, I told you, Ron, nobody recognizes me, and I love it. He said, they leave me alone for a change.
I used to have a Taco Bell Chihuahua toy that used to sing, chances are.
Yeah.
And it actually did the whole thing, and it was like
Johnny
wow.
Johnny is the shyest man in the world. He's so soft and wonderful. I love him to pieces.
Wait, was it a real Taco Bell toy?
Yep, it was a Taco Bell, talking Chihuahua, but you'd push a button and it had variable things it would do.
Chances are.
Chances are was.
We should get that for you. That would be so cute. I'll have to go on eBay and look.
It might be in storage, but I haven't seen it in a long time.
I'll go on eBay though and see if you can find it.
It was called the Yo Quiero Bell Taco Bell Chihuahua.
Yeah.
Well, when Johnny comes to Palm Springs to perform and we go in the green room, I'm going to ask him if he has one.
There you go.
Johnny may have one.
They said they loved your voice too. So do you sing? Like when you played, do you also sing? Because like you threw me for a loop there.
Baritone voice. Good.
You talking about me?
Yeah, you.
Yeah. No, I'm a lead singer. I mean, this thing I did last Saturday, I was pretty much singing.
Now, are you a singer or a screamer?
And Miller hires us not to play the instruments so much. He can get anybody to play bass and guitar or whatever. He hires us to sing. Because he doesn't use any stem tracks. He doesn't use any pre-records. We sing live, and we have to sing really long, high notes in tune. And because, he's a great singer, and that's one of the things that he was known for on his recordings was his fantastic vocal stacks. We have to replicate those live. We have to sing. So that's what I get paid for, is to sing.
I love it. Oh, that's so cool. They loved it in the chat room. They were like, oh, not only is he cute, he can sing. I mean, you got like a whole fan group here. You got fanboys making it up. So I love it.
When I do like honoraria speeches at like USC and stuff like that for the music department, the kids always ask me, like, how do you get in the band? And how do you get a gig like that? And how many scales do we have to practice? And what music degrees? I said, don't worry about any of that. Just sing. Learn how to sing. If you can sing and sing in tune, you can add another zero to your paycheck.
There you go.
It's true. But singing is, I spoke with, very famous singer. Oh, Jesus Christ. Who was it? It was a friend of mine, dead now. Anyway, when I remember, I'll give you the name. I forgot if it was a man or a woman. And they said, you're either born with a voice or you're not. You cannot cultivate a voice. That's called falsetto. And I think it was, who the hell was this?
Have you always been a singer then?
Yeah, pretty much. I wasn't really a great singer until I got the Steve Miller Band. Though I had record deals. I mean, I sang lead vocal on my first record deal in '78 with a band called Pieces. I sang 2 songs on the album, and it sounds pretty good. It's on YouTube. You can listen to them. And I had to work hard punching in and working on my pitch, whatever. But when I got in the Miller Band, he really got us into doing vocal warm-ups and exercises and things that it really taught me. And then I took lessons too from a guy named Ron Anderson, who was a famous vocal coach in LA. And until I did all that, I was just like, okay, but now, I mean, I can do it. I can nail this stuff, which is
the vocalist.
But once you learn your craft, you do it, and you do it well.
The vocalist that I couldn't remember the name was Beryl Davis. And Beryl Davis sang with Frank Sinatra in the hit parade in the 1940s and 50s. She's a legend. She has a star in Palm Springs. And Beryl said to me, either you have a voice or you don't. You do not cultivate it. That was the question. Do you agree with that?
Yes. Some people have a gift for a lead vocal tonality that is unique unto itself. Of course, we can talk about tons of people, everybody from Celine Dion to Amy Winehouse, have completely different styles, but they're unique. When you hear them right away, you go like, I know who that is. And Miller is one of those. You hear Steve Miller's voice, you go, I know exactly who that is. Now, if you were to hear me on a recording, of course, I'm not a celebrity on top of that, but you would probably not be able to discern me from one person from another R&B blues singer. You turn on like XM radio, listen to Bluesville. There's all these white guys trying to impersonate the blues now, They all sound the same. They're all kind of, they're putting something into their voice and trying to sound like a black person. When really, they don't have the instrument or the teeth or the maxillary and the sinuses. They don't even have the instrument, so there's no way you can get that tone without the instrument. So some people are just blessed with a sound, and that is something, it does come from a gift from above. It's not like.
What do you think about Patti LaBelle?
She's great. She kind of overdoes it, but she definitely has a good instrument. But she's a little nasal and she's a little tinny for me. I'd much rather listen to Whitney Houston, believe it or not.
Well, Patti, if she doesn't go to the high C, I like it better. Sometimes she goes to a high C that really is.
She's a great singer.
She's a violin. I love Patti LaBelle to death. I love and adore her.
It's like the difference between an alto sax and a tenor sax. Some alto sax, you only want to listen to it a couple tunes. Your head's getting a drill put through it. A tenor, you can listen to all night long. The foo-foo, and it sounds great.
Do you know Tom Claxton? Thomas Claxton?
No.
Okay, he's a friend of ours who's an artist, a great artist. He wrote in here that Ron Anderson is his vocals coach also. What a small world. So I thought maybe you know him because he knows like Scott Page and Kenny Olson and Steve Perkins and all those guys.
You got to remember, I moved out of LA 14 years ago and I haven't looked back. So I'm not hanging with a lot of folks.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
What's with all you musicians? You all moved out of LA. Back in the 60s, every musician in the world lived in LA. LA wasn't happening.
I was there up until 14 years ago, no doubt. But I mean, I didn't have to because I was in a band. There was a touring act where everybody in the band didn't live in LA. I was the only guy living in LA. And all the rest of them live all over the country. We just get together to do our tours. And we just kind of rehearse a little bit and sound check and we get right back into it. But we don't hang out together.
My ex-sister-in-law, who was a big hippie drug addict, or she was a mess, she took me to a party up in Laurel Canyon to the fat lady, the one that choked on the sandwich.
Mama Cass.
Mama Cass.
Yeah.
It was a party at Mama Cass's place up in Laurel Canyon.
Yeah.
And she led me around and was saying, this is so-and-so. I think there was about 5 of the major rock and roll groups of our day that were there. And I remember,
have you seen the new movie Once Upon a Time in Hollywood with Tarantino?
Yes.
No, but there wasn't the full band, but there was one person from each band was there, and it was the who's who of, I can't remember. I never liked that music back then. I was still Doris Day, Well, that's my era. That music came in. I thought it was loud and it didn't make sense. I liked bossa nova, cha-cha, and mambo. So I'm a relic. I'm a relic.
My father's,
but I did like Country Joe and the Fish, and nobody knew who Country Joe and the Fish was. Did you know Country Joe and the Fish?
Sure.
Sure.
I like this music.
That's like two or three musicians we've had in a row that knew Country Joe and the Fish.
I know, but nobody ever liked him. And they said to me, "You like Country Joe and the Fish?" I'd say, "Yeah."
Well, they had personality, and they were kind of kitschy, and then we kind of go back into the 30s a little bit with their style, and Boney O'Donnell, a little bit of Rudy Valley thrown in with psychedelia. It was kind of different.
Yeah, I kind of thought it was good.
So are you married?
Yes, I married to Diane Steinberg, who was Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds in the movie Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band with Frampton and the Bee Gees. She played the role of Lucy in that movie.
Because somebody in the chat room wrote his wife is a superstar, so that's why I asked you if you were married. So congratulations, that's awesome. That was Sgt. Pepper's.
She was a singer-songwriter first. That's how I met her. And she had a couple albums out, and I played on her second album, and that's how I got into the music music scene. Met all the guys in Toto, that had played on all the Boss Skaggs record stuff. And we started doing sessions together, and they liked me, and they recommended me, so I started getting a lot of dates, which was great. And I met them through Diane's sessions. She was supposed to open for George Benson on that album, but then she got this role in this Robert Stigwood movie, and she kind of gave up her touring for that record to do the movie, which was unfortunately a bomb movie because all the other Stigwood movies were huge hits.
Yeah, so all the other ones were
very big. But the soundtrack album sold 3 million copies. She sang 3 on that album and got Favorite Nations equal royalties to all the artists and producers. So she made some pretty good money on the soundtrack album, and then that's how we were able to buy our first house in Woodland Hills, who we bought from Mario Speedwagon's lead singer Kevin Cronin. We bought his house.
How cool is that?
We're looking in maybe possibly moving out of Palm Springs to Sherman Oaks or Van Nuys or Woodland Hills. Did you see what the real estate prices are there?
Yeah, they've gone up. There's no doubt.
I mean, what you bought your house for, had you held it, you probably could have.
We bought our house in '81 from Kevin for about $240, I think, and that was considered to be pretty expensive back then.
Yeah,
it was a beautiful house. A private apartment, half-acre pool.
Now it could go anywhere.
Now it's probably a couple million.
From $1.5 million to 2.3, it can go for.
Yeah, and they're just shitty, 60s homes with composite roofs,
I love it. That's cool though that she was in that, because Sgt. Pepper's was. I don't really remember the movie, but I remember the album because I listened to it all the time.
I remember the cartoon section.
Oh. Because there was a cartoon for that too, yes. Yeah, but there was a movie.
But I like the cartoon.
I don't really remember it, but I did listen to the album like a lot. I had it. That was around the same time.
She was the best thing in the movie. She was fantastic. She was dancing and singing. There was no dialogue. Thank God, because I don't think Frampton and the Bee Gees would have been able to handle dialogue. But
love the Bee Gees. The Bee Gees were one of my favorites.
But the 3 big hits from the movie were "Got to Get You in Your Life" by Earth, Wind and Fire, "Come Together" by Aerosmith, which brought them out of their dregs, and then Billy Preston had "Get Back," which got a little airplay too. So there were 3 songs on that album that did pretty good on the radio.
I fucking
to show you how dumb I was, my very dear friend Perry Winkler, her husband was the CEO for Global Business Management in Beverly Hills. They had wonderful parties with always celebrities. And I was at her party one night. I was milling around, and she said, "Ron, why don't you go over and speak to those guys? They're with the electric company," because she was a dizzy broad. And I said to her, "What the fuck do I want to meet somebody from Lilco or electric company?" And it was the guy with the big purple hat. And he
from ELO.
ELO. And she was dizzier than I was because she called them the electric company. So I went over and I finally said to him, I said to him, "Wait a minute.
Yes.
Listen to what I said to him. Want to talk about dumb? I said, you're really cool looking for somebody that works for the lighting company." And he just looked at me. He couldn't figure it out. Then he started to laugh. He said, "That's a joke." I said, "No, what's a joke?" I said, "You work for
His name is Jeff Lynn."
I said, "You work for Pacific Coast Lighting, right?" He said, "No, with the light orchestra." I said,
electric ELO.
So I went back to Perry. I said, "Perry, you're one fucking dumb broad."
Well, we actually had a band out of the Bay Area in the late 60s. It was called Pacific Gas and Electric, and they actually had a hit.
I mean, you never knew back then.
They really had one.
I mean, you really never knew back then. But I used to meet so many, because I lived in LA and I hung out in the hill. I was a Gucci hippie. So, I went to a lot of Laurel Canyon parties up there, which were wild. There
Well,
was
that's
a,
why I asked you, Ron, if you saw that movie, which just won the Oscar, which is, Once
Once
Upon
upon a time in Hollywood.
did you
Yeah,
ever
there's a
go?
party
Did,
scene.
hang on.
There's a party scene in there that I think you'd enjoy looking at because it's Mama Cass and all the people, but they're actually at the Playboy Mansion, and it's really it's one of those out of control parties. It's great.
there was a
gotta love
place
it.
up on Laurel Canyon that was a big barn that they used to have as a rock club. And did you ever play there? It was famous. It was called, I forgot, but it was right on Laurel Canyon. You had to drive all the way up.
I think you're talking about the Topanga Corral. It was a Topanga Canyon.
Topanga Canyon. I'm sorry. That's right.
I played the Corral, and that's where Canned Heat.
The Corral. That's it. We
Yeah.
went up there to hear a group called Bones. Do you remember Bones?
No, I don't remember Bones.
They were a really good group. We used to go to the Corral. Then it burnt down, sadly.
No, I'm a little younger than you, Ron. I actually hit LA in '73, so all that had already happened before I even got down there. And
But I was an old bag when I used to go to those places. I wasn't young. I already had children growing up almost. I was in my 40s when I used to. I was a very immature person. I still am. And I never grew up. So I used to hang out with all 30-year-olds, and I was in my 40s. And we went up to the Corral. And I loved it up there. And the post office. Remember the post office?
I don't remember the post office.
That was right on Topanga Canyon also. It was the old post office. There was a little restaurant there. And you could go in there and you could see that one that killed us, that died, the one that used to scream a lot. We saw her there one time. Famous. Oh my God, she's so famous. The Rose. What was her name?
Oh, Bette Midler.
No, not Bette
Oh,
Midler.
you're talking about
The
Janis
real-
Joplin.
Janis Joplin.
Janis
Janis
Joplin. She was there, loaded out of her bird. She couldn't even lift the head up off the table, and and she was just spinning around the room.
Love it.
Right.
And so somebody said to me, "That's Janis Joplin," and I said, "Who's that?" Well, that's how informed I was. But those were the good old days. I love those late 60s, early 70s. LA was such a happening place.
You need to watch the movie. I'm telling you, you're going
I
to
will.
like
I
it.
will.
We saw it. He liked parts of it, but he didn't really like it in general.
Because it pretty much follows LA, pretty much true, and all the cars are correct.
Wait, you're talking about Hollywood?
The movie Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Oh, that's a piece of shit.
He didn't like the movie.
Oh no, that was a lie. Rock Hudson did not have a black love.
No, that's Hollywood. That's a different one.
That's Hollywood.
This is the Brad Pitt movie we saw with Eileen when she was here visiting that got the Academy Award. But he didn't really like it.
It's all about the Manson family, but if you just put that aside, the LA scene that's going on at that time is pretty well depicted in the movie.
Yeah, I had a ranch in Simi Valley back in the early 60s, a little place. And we used to drive up Lilac Lane. And when you drove up Lilac Lane in the Santa Susana Pass, you would pass the Manson Ranch. And I was there with my drug addict sister-in-law.
Spawn Movie Ranch.
On Movie Ranch, exactly. And I was there with my drug addict sister-in-law and her drug addict sister, the two drug addicts. I had to peel them off the furniture to put them in the car. It was a convertible, and we drove up there. I wanted to show them the Movie Ranch, and some crazy guy came running down with a gun yelling, "Get the fuck off my property." And my sister-in-law said to me, "Move it, he's crazy, he's going to shoot us." And we think it was Manson. But that's what it was like. I think it was Manson. I mean, I don't know for sure because I was driving.
Well, this is what I'm saying. You're part of that era, so that's why.
Yes, he is.
I loved it. I had a ball.
You were there.
I used to go to the Baked Potato and sit there with what's his name, the drummer, who was a good Earl Palmer, who I loved. Earl Palmer, the nicest.
I love Earl Palmer. That was the first session I saw in LA. Was with him.
Nicest.
Oh, that's cool.
I don't mean Junior. I mean the original. The studio musician Earl Palmer. Yeah, sweetheart of a darling guy.
You're not that young then. Okay, he's in his 60s.
I saw Earl when I was 16, and he I was at my first recording session in Hollywood. Go ahead.
He was a good drummer. Then Red Fox would come in with his dirty mind, and my drug addict sister-in-law was a platinum blonde, real tomato-looking broad, and Fox went over there and he stuck his tongue in her ear. Those were the days, my friend. Quaaludes were the happening. The music was good. People
you've been around, man. There's no doubt, and it's a pleasure to meet you, sir.
Yeah, but now it's not like that anymore. Now it's
he wishes it was.
It's so sad. We don't have freedom. We're on lockdown. The world has gotten crazy. Back then, everybody loved everybody. The music spoke of love. It was a beautiful time.
So we've got a minute, so hang on. So everybody, this is Kenny Lee Lewis. He's fabulous. He's wonderful. He's a great musician. You can follow him on Twitter and Instagram at Kenny Lee Lewis. His website is kennyleelewis.com. He has an album called New Vintage. You should get it because, you guys, that's how he makes money. He makes money doing that. And so go on his website, see everything that's going on. When everything comes down, I'm sure you'll be able to see him playing with the Steve Miller Band once we come out of hiding. And we want to thank you for coming on the show. You're a true talent.
Can I mention one more thing? I'm also a novelist. I have a book that I'm writing, that I've written. It's on Amazon. It's called Skeleton Dolls, Children of the Tower. And it's kind of a Stephen King, Dan Brown kind of a fantasy book. I think you'd really enjoy it. And it's been getting great reviews for the last couple of years. I have a sequel that I'm shopping right now.
Oh, there you go.
Is that book out yet?
Yeah, it's out.
You should have brought it on. You could have showed it on the
Yeah, we would show it.
We would show the cover.
We'll get it anyway.
Yeah.
So turn it into a screenplay.
It's right on the front page of the website.
Okay, it's on the front page of the website. I'm a movie producer, so turn it into a screenplay, and we'll see if we can get it made.
I already got it to some people at Netflix and over at whatever the other one is, Prime, and they loved it. But they said production's been cut down because of COVID. But they're optioning it in their minds right now. They haven't given me a check.
There you go. There you go. Congratulations.
So I'm working on it.
All right, everybody. That's it then. Kenny, thank you so much for coming
Kenny.
on.
Good meeting you.
Chat room. Thank you so much, chat room, for everybody for joining us. We had a great time today. Hope you guys did too. Thanks, Rebel, and we'll see you guys next week. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Have a great week, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Sunlight can turn out to be so wrong. Yeah, we in the mix. Yeah, we in the mix, it's another episode. Here we go, the Jimmy Star Show with Ron Russell. Interviewing the hottest, newest, and truest of today's celebrities. Make sure to subscribe so you can get notified weekly. Jimmy Star, he's the king of cool. Ron Russell, he's a gorgeous dude. Chat room is live and you would be a fool not to vibe with us at the Jimmy Star Show with Ron Russell. Come watch it live on W4CY Radio. Miss some past episodes, download on iTunes. The Jimmy Star Show with Ron Russell. It's the Jimmy Star Show with Ron Russell.